24/7 Sports here. What's it like to interview with PJ Fleck, and how much of a whirlwind was it there when you ultimately accepted the defensive coordinator position here?
Yeah, it was different. It was the first time I met him. First chance we got had time to talk and kind of go through it. But to me, it was football. It was, how are you going to handle certain players? How are you going to handle certain situations? How are you going to what is your philosophy? What is your scheme? How do you attack certain situations? And, once it gets into that, I think it's very comfortable. And, overall, it was a great experience and excited to be here now.
Corey, what do you feel like your defenses will be the calling cards of it?
I think we'll be very multiple. And the toughest thing right now is who are we? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are the things that we're going to try to, make sure we're doing or we're trying to feature? And then what are the things that, maybe we don't want to lead off with or set out right away because of, the player's strengths or, how we go. So the next 2 months or the next, however many practices we go through is going to be the biggest thing to answer that. So far it's been awesome, meeting the kids and seeing their personalities and seeing how they watch film and how they attack the weight room and do all of that. But now it'll be a really good test to see, how we play football. And, who are the guys that are going to finish plays, who can play in space, who can rush the quarterback, who can cover. And that'll answer a lot of questions in the next next 5 weeks here.
Your coaching background was pretty unique. What did you take away from your experience coaching internationally at the beginning of your career?
Yeah, I think everything has been a learning experience. I kind of got into it on one side of the ball. Now I'm on the other side of the football. Having chances to see things as a player, what you like, what you don't like. You play under different people. And then you try to take that into coaching. And then, in every different coaching experience, it's how can I get better from that? What did I learn in this situation? And, I think that's been something that's been huge for me, whether it's been at the Division III level, at this in the Big Ten level. You kind of take apart from each situation and you kind of make it a whole as you continue to grow. And, Coach already talked about the change. And, we're going to change today and get better tomorrow. And I think that's something that we're always looking at doing. And I think that's been a big part of my career is, learning from every situation I've been a part of.
There are several coaching ties between Rutgers and Minnesota. What did you learn about Minnesota from a guy like Joe Harris-Semiak?
Yeah, I think it goes all the way back to Maine for me. Those guys all started up at Maine. And, I got to know Joe Harris-Semiak as a player. We've been close for a long time. I was a GA his senior year. And, just kind of staying in touch with him. And then having a chance to work with him and work for him has been awesome. And, getting to know the culture at Minnesota, the culture at Rutgers, and getting to see different, every different environment, every different situation, and how it changed at Maine all the way through, has been really good. And it's helped, kind of the process of coming here and learning, the culture here. So that's been a big part of it so far.
Corey, how have you kind of met the transition and the challenge, maybe a little bit of coming in and succeeding a highly successful guy like Coach Rossi?
Yeah, I think, it's always tough to replace someone that's done a very good job. Coach Rossi, his defense is here. Obviously my last, I don't even know how many years now, I've got a chance to study him, watch what they do on the field, see how they attack people, see how they coach. And, they've done a very good job on defense. And, everything, learning the way that they did it here was my number one goal when I first got here. Okay, how has this been coached? How has it been done? And how have we been, it's been very successful. What can we carry over? So that's been a big thing. And now it's going to be, how do we try to take that and make it better? And, I always look at, like, when I went down to JMU, that was a situation where, they were playing for national titles. And it was how do we get this and how do we continue to get better and continue to improve that defense or where we were with that team. And, I think it's a very similar situation.
Coming on board and not bringing along any other assistant coaches or anything like that, how's it been connecting with the staff that was here prior?
The staff's been great. I love the guys that we have on the defensive side of the ball. The entire staff, everyone involved. And, moving, halfway across the country, they've been awesome, helping me out all along the way. And then, as far as how we talk about, what we're going to install, how we're going to implement things, the different changes we will make. The guys have been awesome, as far as we like this, we don't like this, we're all in. Hey, can we talk about this? Everything from, trying to figure out what neighborhood I'm going to live in into, How are we going to get a stop on third down here? The guys have been excellent, and I'm excited, to continue working with them and get going here on the field in spring ball.
Run defense here last fall was the worst in the Big Ten. So what are some of the keys to improving a run defense, and what do you want your defense to kind of be known for?
Yeah, I think we have to make teams one-dimensional. We have to force them to throw the ball. We have to stop the run. That's always going to be the number one goal. It's right away. First down situations. How do we get the offense off track? How do we make it so they have to throw the football now? They're not in charge of dictating to us, what the play type's going to be. And, that's always been a big thing, in this defense and in this scheme we've kind of hung our hat on is, okay, how do we take that away? How do we attack them? Or who do we have to take out of the scheme in order to get them off track? So now we can get into third down situations or, second and off track situations.
There's so much information that players have to master and learn with the defensive scheme. How do you go about making sure that they're getting clear, concise information that can ultimately help them play fast?
I think, everything Coach spoke about earlier is the fundamentals and the techniques. We're going to coach them up, on, the movement, the block destruction, the tackling, the coverage ability. We're going to coach all those fundamentals. And then the techniques we're going to give them, we don't want an entire Rolodex of techniques. It's, okay, this is how we're going to play this is how we're going to play that. And now if you can put those techniques into different calls, the guys aren't doing a lot of things. And that's where I feel like the guys can now play fast. Now they're not thinking as much. Now it's something that it's a similar to or it's a same as, where now they can go out and react or they can get their key progression. And I think that's what allows the guys, whether it's 4 calls or 10 calls, they can go out and play those calls because they're doing similar things over and over and over again. And that way they're getting, whether it's a walkthrough or it's, a group event or it's a team, now they're out there getting the same picture, the same keys, and they're getting faster and faster with their reads every single time.
You haven't seen much of them on the field yet, but how do you evaluate your linebacker position right now?
I'm excited about it. I think we'll get, overall as a group, I think we have guys with experience. I think they'll continue to get better. I think they had a really good winter. Going through the cut-ups and watching what they did last year, we had a lot of crossover, from where I was to watching them every week, how they fit things or how they covered things. And, I really like the group that we have, and I think we're going to continue to build, continue to grow. We'll be a year older, a year more mature now, and I think that's really going to help us on the field. But I'm excited about the group.
What about in the secondary? There's quite a bit of turnover. Obviously, Newman is an All-American, and Trayvon Jones, who is an every game starter. What about the turnover that you see?
I think that's, we're always going to have that, and obviously excited for those guys and, watching Pro Day and watching how he competed and how he attacked it. I'm real excited for what's going to happen to him, the next couple of weeks. But, we have to develop guys. We have to grow our talent there. I think we have guys that are very capable. I'm excited about that group. I think we have a lot of versatility in how we can attack people using that room. And, this spring will be big to throw them into those situations and really find out, what their strengths are in that room. And then how do we, take our scheme and put those guys in the best situations to be successful. But I do think overall, when you look at that group from top to bottom, I do think we're going to have a very good group there.
If I could take you back to 2007 in Springfield, now obviously almost 20 years later, you're a Big Ten defensive coordinator. What do you remember about those first few weeks back there at Springfield?
I can say my first year at Springfield, I was the worst defensive coach there was. I mean, going to that side of the ball, trying to figure out how to tackle, how to defeat a block, how do I move to get to the ball, what happens when all of a sudden there's a shift or a motion. It was like those are things I didn't have to think about maybe on offense. And that's something that, learning and growing and trying to get ahead of it and always trying to stay, one shift ahead or one motion ahead or one play ahead. I think everything that, I was a part of there with that staff and the people who helped me out and even the players, I still talk to a lot of those guys now. How much maybe I've grown it's been really good, but to me, that's what it's all about. You love football. You want to continue to get better at football every single day. And that was the whole reason why I got into it. I love, the way that my coaches helped me get better, whether it be Pop Warner all the way through high school, through college. And it's the same thing. That's my goal, is to make sure, take our guys and continue to develop them, continue to get them better. And, we might see something even, tomorrow in first practice. We might see something that, hey, we got to find a better answer for that, or we got to have a better, you know, way to take that on. And that's part of this game is we're going to continue to do that all the time. And I think, you know, going all the way back to 2007, you know, it's always funny looking back at those situations and seeing, you know, the philosophy at that point to how it's grown or how it's changed. And, you know, there's things I'll still go back and, hey, how did we handle this situation, or what did we do there? Is that best for what we have, you know, in the locker room right now? You know, and I think that's situations that we always look back, grow, and continue. That's why we, you know, get to where we want to be.
What brought you to Europe?
So I was a senior in college, and, you know, there was a coach that I'd kind of been recruited by coming out of high school that had been on a staff over there, and, you know, they had a quarterback situation where they didn't, you know, they weren't going to finish the season with the guy they had, and asked me if I'd basically go take an opportunity and, you know, work out for a team and play. And I finished the year out there, and it was an awesome experience. You know, the biggest thing I took from it was, you know, get a chance to see the world, get a chance to meet different people, you know, be a part of something a little different. My first couple meals, I didn't know what to do. You know, my first time getting, you know, in the cab going back to where I was going to live, it was, you know, Klagenfurt. I had no idea what they were saying to me in the car. You know, I was trying to figure it out with my accent and then with a different language. It was a difficult situation, but, you know, learning the culture, learning their customs, learning the food, how to get around, how to communicate, you know, different people. It was an excellent experience. And then, you know, I had an opportunity to go back my second year and play in a different country, and it was awesome. But, yeah, it really came down to someone that I built a relationship with through recruiting. And, you know, I didn't go play at that school. You know, I ended up going down, playing at a different level, and they had an opportunity. He had a relationship with the owner of the team, and next thing I knew, I was on a flight over to Europe.
Corey, how would you describe your demeanor, your personality that you bring to the kids in practice and in games?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's definitely going to be, you know, we're going to coach the guys up, you know, and there's going to be times where there's going to be expectations, but we're going to take it step by step. We're going to continue to get them better every single step of the way. And I think my biggest thing is, you know, I'm kind of like an educator. My background's in education, you know. Before I went to Europe, I was a student teacher at Leominster High School in Massachusetts, going through the education program, and kind of going to take it that way where, you know, how do guys learn, how do guys develop, and I got to find a way to reach each one of our players and everyone on the staff. You know, how do we need to communicate it in the staff room so that everyone's on the same page, the game plan, how we're executing it, how we're going through practice, all the way to each player. How am I going to get the drill to them? How am I going to get the scheme to them, the technique, the philosophy, why we're doing it, how we're doing it? And, you know, each guy's going to be a little bit different how we're going to do that. And that, you know, the reaction for player A might be different than player B. And that's something that I'm still trying to learn who our guys are, who's in the room, you know, getting a feel for everyone. And I feel like being here and seeing the weight room and seeing the winter workouts and meeting guys in the office and, you know, getting to see them away from the football field has been huge and helpful with that, but something we're still going to develop here, you know, in the next couple of weeks.
How do you use your emotions in your overall teaching and coaching?
Try to keep it calm as much as I can, but not all the time.
Do we have one or two more for Coach?
In the early stages, what are your thoughts on the culture that's here with Minnesota and the program?
I love the culture here right now. You know, the guys, you know, the way they attack each day, you know, the way they enter the building, the excitement they have, the love they have for football. And that's the biggest thing to me is, you know, the love they have for each other, the way they take care of each other, and then the way that they attack meetings, workouts, you know, and everything, the way they do it off campus, the way they eat to fuel their body, the way that they come in prepared for a meeting, you know, and then the way that they've attacked the workouts. I'm real excited to see how they're going to attack a practice now, because I think that's what's going to help make us very good, you know, overall as a program. And I think that's something that's been tested here, and I think that's something that's going to continue to get better.
Obviously, knowing a little bit more, moving from a state to state in the United States to moving to Europe, but what have you learned about yourself and just learned about Minnesota in general since you've moved here?
It's been, you know, it's been excellent so far. Everyone's been nice. We haven't given up a touchdown or a first down yet, so But everyone's been nice. Several, getting around and people in the community, people in the building, people on campus. Going out to eat and everything. It's been awesome here so far. My wife, has loved it so far, and we're excited about what it's going to become and where things are going to go. But like I said, we haven't given up a touchdown yet, so.
We'll go ahead and finish with Ryan Burns. Go ahead, Ryan.
One of Rossi's philosophies was making sure that they stopped the run and didn't give up a lot of explosive plays. Are there any philosophies in your head that you think about at your time at James Madison or Maine that you want to bring here to Minnesota, or are they similar to what Rossi would say?
I think everything's going to be similar. There'll be changes, and we'll do things a little bit differently. But stop the run. We want to create explosives on defense. We want to take the football away. We want to create takeaways, change the field, and those are going to be things that we're going to emphasize right away from practice one.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks, Corey. Not yet.